Hi everybody, I'm Michelle Robinson. I'm an intuitive psychic, medium, channel, mentor and artist. I'd like to welcome you to today's episode and also to my channel if this is the first time you've visited. Today I'm going to be sharing a powerful run of visions that I have received on the 15th of July over about maybe a half to 3/4 hour period. And this is for Australia, New Zealand, and the Pacific Islands, with also one mention in Hawaii. So these intuitive insights came through while I was actually doing some therapy in an infrared sauna. And I thought, great opportunity to do a meditation and put on the meditation. And as sometimes happens, that was just enough of a trigger for me then to go and just do my own thing, and I can't even hear the meditation anymore. So I will be sharing this. I have got them written on my notes on my phone, so I will be reading from that. So this came about through the meditation. I call in my protection just when I was starting the guided meditation, and I also connected with spirit, with the angelics, and I had a guide that actually journeyed with me as we kind of energetically went to see these visions. He told me before we start to get ready for the battle of a lifetime. So I thought that was a little bit odd. So this was brought about with at a high vibration with angelic protection and an angelic guide supporting me through these visions, which actually was interesting because I have had quite a few visions. I'm getting more and more of them currently. I have been guided to share them, and I started sharing some on social media platforms, kind of reluctantly, because generally I keep them to myself. But they're becoming very vivid, very clear, and I'm getting quite large runs of them now. So yeah, these are definitely for me to share. So I guess the sharing is to offer reflection, maybe just awareness. So we're all navigating kind of changes. I have got some episode on the current planetary alignments where kind of unprecedented things are happening in the planets, which are contributing to what's going on energetically for us globally and personally. So if you want to understand more on that, I'm not an astrologer, so I just tried to keep it kind of low-key and informative as possible. So just as a disclaimer, please know these visions are not predictions, rather they're like energetic impressions. So as a intuitive, I get clairvoyance, clairaudience, clairsentience, and claircognizance. So that's kind of inner seeing, hearing, feeling, and knowing. So it's really to inspire kind of consideration, preparation, and maybe just awarenesses. And also there is some assistance kind of at the end with that soul-aligned navigation. So anyway, thanks for being here and holding the space with me with curiosity and respect as I walk you through what I saw. Okay, so when I went up to the very high vibrations, I saw my usual guide and then went up to a high vibration, and this guide was very angelic, and behind him was a red dawn. And I thought, that's very strange. It looked a bit ominous. It was like the dawning of a new day, but it was red. And then he came with me, which was surprising to me, but felt really lovely. And we went off the east coast of Australia towards the sea, and I could see the sea quite closely, and I was to notice that the swells in the sea were getting bigger. So I could just see that the swell was quite big, and increasing in size. I saw a sandy atoll with a palm tree in it, so I knew it was representing a Pacific island. And when I saw that, I heard clairaudiently 𝓡𝓸𝓫𝓲𝓷. So, and I saw the water inundating parts of that lower coastal, lower lying areas of Tuvalu and washing some of that land into the sea. And then I saw what appeared to be like the chief of Tuvalu blowing on a conch shell as if he was either blowing warning to the people or crying out for assistance externally to the island, as if to say, we have a problem here. I had the feeling that they were aware of the problem, but perhaps not that it was things were going to happen so quickly or to that extent, or that not enough had been done quickly enough. After that, I saw humpback whales, so I was wondering what was going on with them. And they were travelling, I felt like I was roundabout north of Byron, roundabout Stradbroke Island, and I was aware that they were heading in their migration instead of up the coast to Hervey Bay. I had the feeling that they were heading more in a westwards direction, and I thought, oh, where are they going? And I got the indication, I was asking, can you show me where they're going? But I wasn't really shown anything. And I got the feeling that they were migrating more to the west out of confusion due to navigational issues due to electromagnetic changes. I did get the feeling that that's going to be noted by people that are following them, either through GPS trackers, things like that. So it's going to be more noticeable. Then I saw a group of about 150. Well, I saw a group of pilot whales stranded, and I felt like it was south east coast of New Zealand, down south, and I heard there was a 150 was what I heard. So I guess it would be thereabouts, and pilot whales. I then was taken to the inside of a cockpit of an airplane where there was a dial with a needle, and the needle was moving erratically. And I could see that the instrumentation wasn't behaving as it should. So often when I see things, I'm shown that there may not be a dial like that as such, but it's given to me in a way that I can understand what's happening. So even if it's a digital dial, it's just being erratic and causing consternation. So I didn't see anything other than that. I didn't see any crashes. I just saw that the dials were erratic, and I felt the consternation of the pilot, like there's something going on here. And I got the indication as well that the indicator wasn't stabilizing, was moving like a compass needle, and that was also due to electromagnetic shifts. So at this point, I know that I'm seeing a lot, and I started taking notes on my phone at the same time. So although I am in a meditative state, it's like being in the space between waking and sleeping. It's kind of in that theta headspace. So I could carry on taking notes from there all the way through. I then saw another airplane, and it was like a World War II bomber airplane. And I thought it had like the sign of the shop Target on the side. But when I looked closer, it looked like the Japanese emblem of Japanese flag. There was like an old-fashioned fighter pilot in there, kind of looking over the edges, and it was close to the coast of Australia and Australia aviation space, and I felt like he was just scoping out the land, and I thought, what's going on here? I think the World War II plane was just kind of indicating maybe the intent. And so I was up high, and I could look back at Japan, and what I saw was a lot of green land mass that was quite mountainous. And I just wondered if there was going to be quite a loss of low coastal land. And so there was a necessity to start scoping for habitable land elsewhere. I then saw volcanic activity in Hawaii. I just saw lava spill. I didn't feel like it was really damaging, but When I was with the humpback whales, I kind of took me a little while to figure out what was going on. So I felt like my energy took me into the water with them, and I saw cracks at that time appearing under the ocean. So that was representing cracks in the mantle, and I could see bubbling coming up from that. I felt like there was a heating element to that, and also that from the surface there wasn't a lot that was seen, but there was shifts in the Earth's mantle, and there was some bubbling which was noticeable. After that, I moved to seeing flooding. So I just saw a lot of heavy rain, and then actually at first I thought it was flooding, and then I realized it was like a torrential landslide. It was a grey liquid mass which was moving down from a high region, and it felt like it was quite near the coast, and it was in New Zealand. So I've written it as a grey mud scree in New Zealand, and when I saw that, I heard the word Marsden. I am aware that there's a Marsden as well, but I did hear Marsden. When I looked closely at that, I did see a building that was caught up in that, and unfortunately, I did see there were a couple of people as well. So maybe beware of heavy rains, unstable ground in these regions, due to what I saw. Then I was moved to the east coast of Australia, and I saw quite big waves buffeting the coast, and what I heard, oh, and also high winds. And what I heard at that time was tropical tsunami. I got that it was going to be in March on the Capricorn coast. I didn't see it as tsunami, as like a big tidal wave. I just saw it as lots of damaging waves. There are warnings in place for this. It is known that this is coming at the time. So people should not be out in their boats. And the reason I'm saying this is I then saw a small to mid-sized boat, like a fishing boat, with men on board in a dire situation out in rough seas, and they were being rescued by the Coast Guard, but the whole situation was quite precarious. I did feel like they did get rescued. They were in yellow wet weather gear. I'm just asking you not to take any risks if there's weather warnings in boats at sea. It does feel quite precarious. I then saw a four-wheel drive, and it had its lights on, and it was navigating like a ford or a stream or a crossing, but it was going through floodwaters. Again, there are warnings in place about these things. This was quite a big four-wheel drive. It appeared to be like a Land Cruiser or a Land Rover. It wasn't a small four-wheel drive. And what I saw was the power of the water coming down behind it actually pushed the four-wheel drive over the edge and away into the water. It wasn't strong enough to make it across. So please don't cross any floodwaters. Yeah, it's potential for people to lose their lives in that situation. I then saw more fires that will be occurring in Victoria, ACT, southern New South Wales. Victoria is going to fare the worst, more in the alpine type countryside. I then honed in on more work will need to be done for koala rehabilitation. I was seeing koalas up in trees being brought down in ill health and compromised with ticks and being assisted. I felt like this was going to require a volunteer effort, and I saw some kind souls, and I saw in one particular lady in her 20s or early 30s with long brown hair, very straight hair, and she was very instrumental in rallying or leading this effort. So that was lovely to see. I then was just in a kind of up high in an area that was just looking over a whole expanse of Australia. And I just saw these, it was like dusk, and I saw just these soul lights going up. And I took that to be souls that had passed that were lifting up or rising. And I felt that the reason was they had decided that it was time for them to go. And I heard ill health. And then I heard to stay strong. So then I heard a little bit clairaudiently. So I heard this is a wobble, which feels disconcerting. And at that time, I actually felt the earth kind of wobbling. And I was just singing in my mind's eye, just like news headline, like a newspaper, news headlines after news headlines after news headlines. So I think to me, it was just showing that there's going to be a lot that's going to be happening. So I was then shown how to find your peace. I saw someone sitting cross-legged in meditation, feeling very peaceful, not bothered by everything going on around them, and they had like a bubble of white light around them. They weren't connected to the fear and weren't connected to the media, and just seemed to be navigating things quite peacefully. I also saw that it was a time of sharing resources, supporting each other, and voluntary efforts. I saw that humanity is really going to come together. I heard the word unprecedented, and I guess that's to do with some of the activity that we may be going to see. And then I heard there's ways to navigate this time, staying strong, and connected to a community, helping each other. There will be things found that some people never had, which is togetherness and that sense of strong community. So I was seeing amidst all the dark and the kind of things happening, there was a lot of light. It was creating some really fantastic things. And I have actually channeled something similar from the archangels. So it was interesting seeing that. I did then see people using coping mechanisms such as alcohol, partying, and drunkenness. And when I saw this, I was seeing kind of a lot of younger males, or a lot of more males than females. And then I was told that this is going to affect the body as well as the soul's well-being, and it's not going to assist. It may provide light relief, but it's not going to assist. It's going to make you feel physically unwell. I then moved to seeing anxiety and frayed nerves, and I saw this kicking in with particularly females in this case. And with this, I was seeing like a large hand, like much larger than the person, almost coming down in the aura, just soothing that anxiety. And I wondered what that was. I thought it was either through peace, gaining some peace through a connection to spirit, or through using intuition to bring about peace, or, like, I don't know, it was an assisted hand from, I guess, the divine or something like that. Once again, as I've shared previously on this channel, I'm not religious. I do have some beautiful connections in spirit, though, through my mediumship work. So I do know that our loved ones always do try to help us, and this may have been what it was. Definitely felt like there was some energetic assistance anyway. So then I heard October, and I felt that this is where things are going to be seen more. So, and then I was at night and I saw a full moon and lots of people looking up to the moon. I couldn't put my finger on exactly what this one was trying to tell me. So it was either that people are going to be looking to kind of planetary shifts or alignments more to see what's happening, or again, the moon represents intuition, so it could be tapping more into intuition. And then the last thing I saw was a seagull, and it was hovering in buffeting winds. And I took this in two ways. One, we can look to birds for warnings, going with the flow in rough times with another one, or perhaps another one is looking to people like myself who can assist with an overview or warning. So that was the end of the run of visions. I'm not exactly sure how long that took. I had in the infrared sauna for an hour, and it was less than an hour, something like half an hour to 3/4 of an hour. And once I kind of understood what was being shown to me, then I just moved to the next thing, the next thing, and the next thing, until the last one of the seagull. So I would like to thank you so much for watching and receiving these messages today. I feel like I have no choice but to share these. I have been given lots of messages that this was going to happen, and I have been building up and seeing more visions. So if these visions or these energetic impressions resonated with you, I'm really, interested in how they align with your own intuition or experiences. So as I get more of these, I'm going to share them. And if you'd like to share this journey of spiritual connection and insight, or if you want to work on growing your intuition, I do mentorship myself, but in my channel, there's lots of resources and other episodes to support intuitive growth. So, feel free to give me a subscribe and share with other people who this may be relevant for. And as I said, in between other episodes, once I get information, I'll definitely be posting that out. So yeah, we are living in a time of great movement, and we're all in this together. And, this is just one way of having a shared awareness. So yeah, please don't go out of flood waters. Yeah, watch out for just, I don't know, just be aware, take some of the warnings from this episode. It really might help to save a life out there. So until next time, stay grounded and safe, and I'll see you in the next episode.